Well, hey there everyone! It's Christmas! In like a week and a half! Well, I was scouting about for ideas to do some fantastic Christmas themed or holiday themed or some type of theme, any type of theme for my video this week. Well, my family was sitting down and beginning our Christmas movie marathon watching thing, you know what I mean. And we watched Home Alone. And I thought to myself, I wonder what happened to the cast. I wonder where those kids are now. I thought, what a great idea for a video. The Home Alone kids, and where are they now? Well, when I started doing research, I discovered that not one but two people at the very least had the same idea I did, and they had just put up their videos a few hours before. And mine's not due till a week from filming this right now. So I was like, well, first it proves it was a good idea. Sure, but nobody needs to hear another video on the topic, right? So I thought, well, I'll just expand it. Let's look at the kids who were in, maybe not all, okay, all is a lot, but a lot of Christmas movies. Or at least my favorites, mostly my favorites. I will explain as we go along. There are a lot of Christmas movies out there, so yes, I am mostly focusing on my favorites. But I'm also splitting this into two videos because let's not get ridiculous here. So this video, the first video in a two-part series, is going to be more focused on the classic side, like I deem classics as 70s and older, and I can't actually think of any 60s, 70s ones that I watch, so we're looking at older movies. And, well, that's it. Let's just get right to it.
Miracle on 34th Street, Natalie Wood. This is going to be my longest part of the bio because she's the one I found the most info on. Born Natalie Zarachenko in San Francisco in 1938. Her first role was at age 4 in The Moon Is Down. Now, her role in Miracle made her so popular that Macy's invited her to appear in its Thanksgiving parade. Many adults she worked with, such as Orson Welles and Joseph L. Mankiewicz, praised her maturity, intelligence, and professionalism. Like many actors of the day, she appeared in many early television episodes. However, she was one of few child actors who successfully kept working in feature films through adolescence into adulthood, appearing in movies such as The Searchers and A Cry in the Night. Rebel Without a Cause marked a personal turning point, as well as professional. Not only was she nominated for Best Supporting Actress, but she later claimed it was the first role she wanted to do that her parents did not. Her career began to languish, but rebounded with her casting in Splendor in the Grass, and led to bigger things with West Side Story, Gypsy, and Love with the Proper Stranger. She later appeared in films such as The Candidate and Bob and Carroll and Ted and Alice, but decided to take a semi-break from acting, concentrating on her family and doing only work she wanted to do. It was on break during the filming of Brainstorm that she died under mysterious circumstances by drowning off Santa Catalina Island in 1981. The Little Dutch Girl, played by Marlene Leyden. Marlene Leyden was born 1939 somewhere in California. She was also in The Sniper, Carbine Williams, and The Pride of St. Louis. Later in life, she became a real estate agent based in Las Vegas. It's a Wonderful Life. Yes, because this is such a big movie, I am going through all the kids. Let's start with the Bailey children. Peter, the oldest, played by Larry Sims. Larry Sims was born 1934 in Los Angeles. He appeared in such films as Mr. Smith Goes to Washington and The Last Gangster. But the bulk of his career was taken up playing Baby Dumpling in the Blondie film series, which went through to the early 1950s and totaled 28 films. When he growed on up, he joined the Navy and from there went to school at California Polytech, which led to a long career in aeronautical engineering. How cool! The second Bailey child, Janie, played by Carroll Coombs. Carroll Coombs was born in 1935 somewhere in Canada. Throughout her child acting career, she appeared in such films as The Clock, The Adventures of Mark Twain, and Mighty Joe Young. She retired from acting in the late 1950s and became an elementary school teacher. The third Bailey child, Tommy, played by Jimmy Hawkins. Jimmy Hawkins was born 1941 in Los Angeles. He also appeared in films such as Winchester 73, The Greatest Show on Earth, and A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. He appeared on many early television episodes, segueing into producing and writing in his grown-up years. He has written 5 books about It's a Wonderful Life, has served on the Donna Reed Foundation, and on the Jimmy Stewart Museum Advisory Board. He was known for riding his horse Pixie into hospitals to entertain the patients, presumably with permission. And the fourth, possibly most well-known, and certainly most screen-time Bailey child, Zuzu. Zuzu was played by Carolyn Grimes, born 1940 in Hollywood. She appeared in films such as Sister Kenny, Blue Skies, and The Bishop's Wife. Now, her mother died when Carolyn was just 14, and her father was killed in an accident the following year. The state determined she should be sent to live with an uncle and aunt in Osceola, Missouri, which was a difficult transition, particularly as her aunt was unstable. The townsfolk looked out for her and helped her adjust, and Grimes became a medical technologist. She did not actually watch the film until age 39, when popular interest in the film caused Jimmy Stewart's secretary to track her down. Now we move back some years and go to young George, played by Bobby Anderson. Bobby Anderson was born 1933 in Hollywood. He appeared in films such as The Bishop's Wife, A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, and The Grapes of Wrath. During the Korean War, he served in the Navy as a photographer on aircraft carriers. Then he worked as an assistant director, and later as part of a production team for various companies. Some films he helped produce include Heat, Demolition Man, and Passenger 57. Young Mary, Jean Gale. Jean Gale was born 1936 somewhere in the United States. I could not find out much about her, unfortunately. She appeared in Road to Rio, My Blue Heaven, and, amazingly enough, Singin' in the Rain. But I couldn't find out where she was. She is credited only as Chorus Girl. Young Violet, played by Janine Ann Roos. Janine Ann Roos was born 1937 in Los Angeles. Wonderful Life was her only film. However, I was very excited to read that name because she appeared as a regular on one of my favorites, the Phil Harris Alice Faye radio program, where she portrayed one of the couple's real-life daughters. Later in life, she became a psychologist. Young Marty, played by Danny Mummert. Marty is the friend who people tend to forget about, just one of George's gang. Danny Mummert was born in 1934 in Dallas. He also was a regular in the Blondie film series, and also appeared in films such as My Sister Eileen and Magic Town. He also worked as a writer and film producer, and tragically, he took his own life in 1974. Young Sam, played by Ronnie Rolfe. Ronnie Rolfe was born 1933 in Los Angeles. He appeared in films like Night Editor, the short film Unto Thyself Be True, and The House I Live In. I cannot unfortunately find anything about Rolfe other than his marriage later in life. And young Harry, played by Georgie Noakes. Georgie Noakes was born 1936 in Los Angeles. He appeared in quite a few big films, such as Gaslight, Song of the South, and The Best Years of Our Lives. He had a decently long career as an actor up through 1951, although I'm unable to find what he did afterward. A Christmas Carol. Okay, first of all, there are a lot of Christmas carols, so I'm going to just concentrate on the ones that I happen to like. Plus which there are always a lot of Cratchit children, and I am trying to keep this somewhat short, so we'll stick with Tiny Tim. Tiny Tim, in this case, was played by Glyn Dearman. Born 1939 in London. He had a short film career, which included The Small Voice, Four-Sided Triangle, and The Flesh and the Fiends. He later became a BBC radio producer and unfortunately died at age 57 in a household accident. Here's one that may be a little out of left field, but it's a big favorite of mine, Holiday Inn. Not many kids in Holiday Inn. However, we have Vanderbilt, played by Shelby Bacon. Shelby Bacon was born 1936 in Los Angeles. He showed up in It's a Pleasure, Saratoga Trunk, and Dragonwyck. Very little more information is known. Vanderbilt's sister Daphne, played by Joan Arnold. I cannot find when or where she was born. I could find that her career included Becky Sharp, 2 Tickets to Broadway, and Battle Cry. And one more. Meet Me in St. Louis, which, as I said in my Christmas Advent calendar, heck yeah, it's a Christmas movie. Big Christmas scene, it counts. Agnes Smith, played by Joan Carroll. Joan Carroll was born 1931 in New Jersey. She appeared in Primrose Path, The Clock, and The Bells of St. Mary's. Post-1950, she married and retired from the film business. And of course, Tootie Smith, played by Margaret O'Brien. Margaret O'Brien was born 1937 in San Diego. She was one of the most popular child actors in American film history, and one of only a few recipients for a Juvenile Academy Award presented in 1944 for Outstanding Child Actress. She has also appeared in Jane Eyre, Little Women, and The Secret Garden. She is still alive, and in fact, she is still acting, with 2 movies listed as upcoming on IMDb.
Okay, and that is it for part. I hope you join me next week when I look at the more modern movies, the modern classics, as it were. So until next week, take care of yourselves and each other, and jingle those bells all the way through to next week. I'm trying to think of a holiday outro and this didn't really work, so I'll just say bye now. Bye!